Muted.
So I'd like to begin today by introducing myself. My name is Sharice Fowler, Apprenticeship Training Coordinator with the Alaska Primary Care Association, and I'm joined by a few special guests here in the room. I'll let them introduce themselves.
My name is Jerry Andrews. I'm the Apprenticeship Coordinator for the State of Alaska Department of Labor.
I'm Mary Rowland. I assist Jerry in the financial oversight of this grant.
Great, and we're joined by a few folks on webcam. Like I said, it's not a requirement, but we would love to connect with you. A lot of this training that we'll be delivering through the apprenticeship will be virtually all distance delivered. So being able to see you all and you see us is a benefit to us attending through GoToTraining. So before we get started, I'd like to go through a few housekeeping items. Please go ahead and hang up if you need to put us on hold. Unfortunately, sometimes you put us on hold and then there's hold music, and we will be recording this for folks that were unable to attend. So to just minimize disruption, go ahead and hang up and call right back, and we'll still be here. Also, if you would like to share any of the PowerPoint information or this recorded presentation with others at your organization, we will send a follow-up email concluding this session today with all of those items you can have for yourself and then share with others at your org as needed. So I'll go ahead. I'm going to be, Patty or Rosaline, if you guys could keep an eye on the chat log and flag me. We're going to be trying to just go through the presentation for the most part and answer questions at the end. If you do have questions, you can feel free to raise your hand. In your settings, there should be a raise hand option, and you can type your question always in the chat box. We're going to try to take a break here and there to just look at the chat box and see if folks have questions so that you don't have to wait the entire presentation. But know that as we're clicking through the slides, I can't see the chat box always. So today's presentation is basically about apprenticeship orientation. Congratulations to many of you who have taken the first step in getting signed up to be an apprentice. We have 4 fields that we are doing apprenticeship program in, and today we're going to basically learn what's required of you as an apprentice, what we require of employers, and the mentorship aspect of the apprenticeship program. So are there any questions at this point before we dive into the presentation? Doesn't look like we have any. So, yep, so far so good. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into the PowerPoint. So welcome and congratulations on becoming a registered apprentice. The purpose of this program is to ensure a skilled and productive workforce. This is achieved by providing each apprentice with a systematic work experience of the occupation under the direction of a skilled mentor. On-the-job training is supplemented by related technical instruction. This presentation is to provide you and your organization with information regarding your apprenticeship. And so you can feel free to refer to this presentation later as you're an apprentice and need this for reference.
Hold on there. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yep. No, you're good.
Okay.
On the next one, I'll make some up.
Okay, so what is apprenticeship? Apprenticeship is basically on-the-job learning. So you get to make a wage and also attend distance education related technical instruction. So, and at the conclusion of your related technical instruction and also your on-the-job learning, you will be awarded with a certification. It is deemed that apprenticeship should lead to a wage increase upon certification. Apprenticeship is built on fairness, safety, and training.
Very good, Therese. And Jerry Andrews here. Just a few comments anyway. Apprenticeship is a job. The first day on apprentice, it's a job. It's unlike a university and then a practicum program. An individual, their first day as an apprentice is their first day on the job. But more importantly is, apprenticeship is built to support the employer's need of a skilled workforce. Even though the apprentice benefits from that, it's an employer's program. So do know that as you are an apprentice, you're benefiting directly from it. You're getting a certification, you're getting a wage, and you're getting trained, but it's about the employer's need of a skilled workforce. So that's very important to remember. That built on fairness, safety, and training is a very important piece. Fairness to the employer, fairness to the apprentice. We want both sides to be happy. The only reason that the apprenticeship document is there is to make sure that the agreement is shared on both sides of the table. Safety goes without saying. We want everybody to be safe on the job and go home at the end of the day safe anyway. And then training. Training that is specific to the occupation that you're in. So you'll see that you're going to have community health worker, certified biller coder, certified medical assistant, and then certified medical office assistant. So those are all occupation specific, but more importantly is that you only need to learn the pieces that are important to your certification. And ultimately, excluding the community health worker, they all will result in a USDOL certificate of completion, and if you pass a industry recognized certification from the National Health Career Association. Yep.
Great. So we've got a display up here called Grow Our Own Benefits. So you can see all the benefits to apprenticeships, from the employee to the employer to all the patients we serve. We are increasing our professionalism, we're getting a certification, and we're going to have great skills that will result from the apprenticeship program. So during this orientation, we will review the following items: standard of apprenticeship, work process, wage progression policies, job site safety, related instruction requirements, work experience or on-the-job learning, apprentice responsibilities, record-keeping responsibilities, employer-sponsor responsibilities, and employer program policies. We will also talk about complaint procedures. In your invite, you were all emailed the apprenticeship orientation form. We will need that signed concluding this webinar and sent back to our office as soon as possible. You can email or fax that back. If you did not get an apprenticeship orientation form, please feel free to reach out to Rosaline or I, and we will get you that as soon as possible. So one of our first sessions is going to be presented by AHEC, and it will be the pre-apprenticeship. Mari, are you on the line? Did you want to talk briefly about AHEC and the pre-apprenticeship?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Mari Sell. I'm the director of the South Central Area Health Education Center, and we're really excited to deliver the pre-apprenticeship portion of all of this, which will take place starting on Monday. So if you are signed up, you'll be receiving an email from me and also a packet in the mail, snail mail, with some materials that you'll need to do that 1 week overview training with us. We call it a quality pre-apprenticeship. And Therese has done a nice job of outlining all of the things that we'll cover during that week. The session will be instructed by Andrea Galvin and myself. I'll be on as well, and we'll talk about part of what we'll do is we'll get used to the tools like GoToTraining and how we're going to do breakout sessions effectively, and get everyone used to the technology that we're going to use through your apprenticeship training. We'll also, as we do in all of our pre-apprenticeships, cover, give an overview of healthcare and healthcare careers in Alaska, and we'll talk about themes related to professionalism. We'll work on your resume and employability type training. We'll also cover things like HIPAA, vital signs, we'll do bloodborne pathogens, sort of those things that to get everybody on a level playing field in terms of those very basic skills and knowledge that you need when you enter a health workforce.
Great. Thanks so much, Mari. And once again, could you give the dates and time for the AHEC pre-apprenticeship next week?
Yeah, so they will take place on March 27th, 28th, 29th, 30, and 31. So March 27th through the 31st. They'll be from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Now, it might not fill those entire 2 hours, but we're definitely starting at 1. There will also be homework assignments, so what we just want to make sure you can hear me. There's a synchronous and asynchronous portion. So the 1 o'clock start webinar, similar to this format, will be the synchronous portion, but there'll be an asynchronous portion where folks will have to do some work on their own. For example, working on your resume and polishing that up and getting a good cover letter together. That is one of the homework assignments, and that will be done on your own time.
Great. Thanks so much, Mari, for that overview. So remember, folks that are on the call, pre-apprenticeship starts next Monday at 1 p.m. So I'm going to take a second here right now to just check in with everybody. Everyone, you're likely on mute, and I went ahead and left us on mute to get through the presentation, but are there any questions at this time? I can go ahead and unmute everybody and see if there's questions.
I can't see the whole slide. I don't know if everybody else has that problem or not.
Yeah, we're taking a break for a second to check in for questions.
No, I don't want to.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody back, and if you have questions, folks, and we don't get to you in time, please plug in the chat box, and we will be sure to respond. Okay, Mari, can you hear me okay? Okay, great. So we're going to proceed on with the presentation. And okay, great. So here's the timeline of the curriculum that we'll be delivering. As Mari mentioned, we're going to do pre-apprenticeship next week, March 27th through 31, from 1 to 3 p.m. daily. April 3rd, the week of April 3rd, we're not exactly sure of the exact date, but we will be doing a litmus user portal training. And litmus is important to us because this is how you will access all your homework assignment, access recordings of trainings that you might miss, and also we'll be doing quizzing through litmus. So this is basically your online learning platform, and we will do an orientation separate from this orientation just to learn how to use the software. We will also have folks from Litmus attending so you can answer questions. Each of you that are apprentices will be getting a username and password here in the near future, and also an invite to this Litmus user portal training that will occur the first week of April. So I see some questions. Just gonna, okay. Thank you for the feedback on the slide. I'm gonna try to get this centered from current slide. Okay, and then from there we're going to begin Certified Biller Coder Specialist instruction on April 10th. Hours are to be determined. We don't know the exact time that these sessions will take place, but we are planning for April 10th. April 18th, the Certified Community Health Worker instruction will begin, and we will be meeting 2 hours 2 times weekly with 1 hour of office hours. Likely on like Friday we'll do the office hours. May, we will launch the Certified Clinical Medical Assistant instruction and Certified Medical Admin Assistant instruction. So official dates and times will be released here along with the course material that we'll cover weekly in the near future. I'm hoping to get that out to everyone here soon, but it is still under review and being worked on. So we're going to jump right into employer-sponsor responsibilities. I know this is kind of daunting and a lot of verbiage, so I'm just going to try to go through it line by line because it's really actually very important. So cooperate in the selection of apprentices as outlined in this program, ensured that all apprentices are under written apprenticeship agreements, review and recommend apprenticeship activities in accordance with this program, establish the minimum standards of education and experience required of apprentices, register the local apprenticeship standards with a registration agency, which we've already done here at APCA, hear and resolve all complaints of violations of apprenticeship agreements. Arrange evaluations of apprentices, progress in also skills and technical knowledge, and the employer will also be responsible for maintaining records of apprentices, their education, experience, and progress in learning the occupation. Certify that apprentices have successfully completed their program and notify the registration agency, which is APCA, of all new apprentices to be registered, credited, granted, suspensions, reinstatements, extensions, completions, and cancellations. So this is the agreement between us and the employer that basically you will supervise your apprentices, you will be accountable for them, you will sign off on their monthly progress reports, and then we will plan to connect with you quarterly to go over the progress of your apprentices. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right here and see if there are any questions. Okay, so that's a different. Is everyone now able to see the slides when I'm actually going through them? Or are they still cut off? Someone told me the slides were cut off.
It's cut off a little on the bottom and on the right-hand side, Therese.
Okay.
We can see most of it.
Okay, I might not be able to fix that, guys. I'm not sure why that's displaying that way. So, okay, I'm just going to carry on, and if you have questions, folks, just go ahead and chat away in the chat box. So, employer expectations. What we expect of the employer is to identify candidates in your community health center or organization that can become registered apprentices. These are often referred to as incumbent workers, folks that have worked for you for some time and might not have that certification that they need. Someone writes about class time and how that will affect their work. How will the class times work for employees who are taking time off from work? Well, Lillian, that's a great question. The way this program is set up to be delivered, you can attend our live sessions, and we would like you to make time for that. Once that will be released and you know our schedule, you can determine what days you can or can't attend based on your work obligations, and then you can certainly take this training at home or after work hours. That will be available to you through your Litmus training platform. So we understand and expect fully that there may be times where you can't attend the live session, and we will be recording and archiving all trainings for you to access and get credit for at a later time. So don't stress out too much if you have something that comes up and you can't attend. We will make these trainings available.
Therese, there was another question from Danielle. She asked, does any of this education count towards CEs for MA certification or others?
You know, I don't know if they count towards CEs right now. that's something, if you want to send me an email, we can address that a little bit later. We're definitely able to connect you with CEs, and we're not sure if the training we'll deliver will actually count for that, or the NHA training that you could take through NHA as an apprentice will count. So if you would like to email that to me, I'd be happy to dig a little deeper. So curriculum is designed, available, and affordable, meaning it's actually free. At this time, this apprenticeship program is fully funded by Department of Labor. Your employer only is responsible for paying your hourly wage that you're already making. So there are funds available to offset the cost of textbooks and tuition, which will be the live instruction we're delivering here from APCA. And what we ask of your employer is that they just practice on-site mentorship and be open to the experience of you being a student at this time. You're not only an employee, you're an apprentice, you're a student, you're learning on the job, and upon certification, a further wage progression is expected. With that said, some of you might already be making over the journey wage that is required for your specific occupation, and it will be left up to your employer to determine how to, adjust that wage progression moving forward. We are certainly not here to regulate or give you specific instructions on how much money you should make once you attain your certification, but we do encourage that there be some sort of progression as an incentive. So are there any questions at this time? I know some employers are on the line, and we've got our expert Jerry in the room. So if you have questions, feel free to speak up.
Let me add one little piece. It's not incumbent upon the employer to pay the apprentice for the related technical instruction, although if it's during the day and the employer allows for it, it's a voluntary piece that the employer can offer to the employee. However, by design, registered apprenticeship, we learn the didactic part of it or the academic part of it after hours, if you would, often. So if an individual is learning on the job, hey, thank your employer for it, that they're allowing you to make time to do that. But know that generally it'd be like attending a university course at the end of the day or outside of work hours. So,
Great. So mentorship. Alaska Primary Care Association will provide mentoring for the following areas, which are billing and coding, specialist, medical, administrative assistant, and then employers are expected to provide mentoring for the following because they will need to be mentored on site, which are the medical assistant, so that would be like a direct supervisor, possibly a physician that they work under, and then for the community health worker, it will be their supervisor. If you're interested in funds that are available to help offset the cost of supervisor mentoring, please let me know. There are funds for that, and there are also funds available if your apprentice needs to obtain these skills to keep their job and further their job in your organization. There's funds available for that. So be sure to reach out to us.
So like a medical assistant, if you needed scrubs or if you needed a stethoscope or some, fundamental equipment, then that would be something that could be asked for, and we would connect you with the appropriate apprenticeship specialist for that. So.
Great. So the apprenticeship agreement, many of you have already filled this agreement out with us. I will be sending back a signed copy of your agreement that you should retain throughout your apprenticeship. It basically is a statement that details the terms and conditions of the apprenticeship standards, and it's an agreement between you and us as the body that will be delivering the apprenticeship program. So if you haven't filled out your apprenticeship agreement and you are on this webinar, please do go ahead and fill that out. We will also have you fill out an apprentice orientation form, sign and date it, just stating that you have been oriented to the standards of apprenticeship. So apprenticeship expectations include to sign the apprenticeship agreement, keep a daily record of on-the-job learning progress, complete monthly reports, receive training in the various work processes applicable to your specific path, and attend all related technical instruction courses, complete homework and quiz assignments on time. And upon completion of all the coursework, you will be expected to hopefully pass your final exam. A note about the final exam. For medical coding and billing, that will be an exam taken here in the Anchorage office. For medical administrative assistant, you will take that exam in the Anchorage office. And for medical assistant, you will take that exam in the Anchorage office. The only exam that you won't be required to attend in person and take as a proctored exam will be the community health worker, which will be delivered to you distantly, and ultimately the community health worker is the only apprenticeship that you won't have to come to Anchorage for the final exam. A little bit about the final exam is the cost of your travel will be covered along with your hotel stay and also M&IE. So you, as an employer, you won't be footing the bill for them to take that first exam. Now, should they not be able to pass that exam, it will be on the employer moving forward to get them back to Anchorage to do a second attempt at the exam. Looks like you've got a question. Yes, there will be additional orientations, and we will also do a recording that we can share with your coworkers that aren't able to be present today. So here is an example of the daily record, and what we're hoping to do is send this out to each apprentice. You can fill this in how many hours you spend a day in each area. And hopefully I can get an Excel wizard to tally it all up. Your supervisor can sign off on that, and then you guys can submit it to us on a monthly basis. So you can see there's 31 days here. And you'll need to become familiar with the work processes for your specific apprenticeship and be able to track what you're doing. The reason this is so important is because part of your requirements for apprenticeship, in order to receive a certificate of completion, you have to have so much on-the-job learning, and that has to be documented. So this is how that becomes documented. And then you can see at the bottom, the employer will attest that, you know, you're punctual, you're willing to learn, showing initiative, and attest to the quality of your work. So this is an important form that you'll need to familiarize yourself, save on your desktop, and try not to wait until the end of the month to fill it all in, unless you really have a regimented workday that every day you're doing the same exact thing and you know how many hours you spend. So it'll just be very important for you to become familiar with this document, track on a regular basis, set like a weekly reminder on Friday or Monday to fill in your on-the-job learning for your daily record. So record keeping. The sponsor, which is APCA, aka me, is the overall keeper of all records, and we report to the U.S. Department of Labor, which is Jerry. The employer keeps apprentices' records too, and they approve and forward the apprentice records to the sponsor. Also, the apprentice can forward that record to us as long as it's been signed off by your employer. And it's on the apprentice to maintain a daily record of the on-the-job learning, which will then feed into a monthly report. And then we will also ask you to keep track of your training reports that will be produced from Litmus, our online server that you will access all your training through. It's actually a really nifty system, and as you access homework, as you take quizzes, as you go through milestones, it will track your progress. So really the only thing that you need to know about those training reports from the online learning platform is that they will be tracking you from the minute you log in till the minute you log out. So RTI and your online learning platforms. We will be using GoToTraining, which is the platform you're currently using today. All of our distance delivered live training will be delivered through GoToTraining. So Mari's pre-apprenticeship that's starting next Monday at 1 p.m., you will get a GoToTraining invite. You will attend throughout the week through GoToTraining. Litmus is our online learning platform that you will access online textbook reading, supplemental resources, homework, and quizzes. So just think of that as like your hub of distance delivered education. So you can access all that information through there. Exams and tests will be given regularly as we're going through curriculum for each apprenticeship. As I mentioned before, the grant covers travel to Anchorage for the proctored National Health Career Association test, and exam fees are covered by the grant. You can see the certificates or certifications awarded below. The CHW will receive a U.S. Department of Labor certificate. The CCMA, CMAA, and CBS will receive the National Health Career Association certification in addition to the U.S. Department of Labor certification. So you'll get dual certifications. And as far as the continuing education on these NHA items, you can renew your NHA certification through NHA every year for approximately $169 for the first person at your org, and then I think you get up to 50% off for each additional employee that needs to do their continuing education. So ultimately, once you're certified, you can continue to remain certified through attending distance delivered courses for your CEUs. So this is kind of a model for primary care. I'm sure some of you have seen this before. It just basically describes the apprentice wage, worker productivity, and employer benefits after apprenticeship. So wage progression. Your apprenticeship standards provide for a periodic wage increase during your apprenticeship if applicable. You might already be at the journeyman wage. You might be working towards that, but it's ultimately up to your supervisor / employer to decide what will be, you know, the best wage progression for you moving forward in the apprenticeship. So the requirement's just basically based on the belief that your skill and productivity increase, and so should your pay. They're not automatic, and it is totally up to your supervisor. So just know that. And so job safety, during your apprenticeship, you will be given instructions with respect to accident prevention and safe working methods. You should strive at all times to conduct yourself in such a manner to ensure that your safety and the safety of your coworkers and clients is first priority. So we're going to jump into the standards of apprenticeship. You should familiarize yourself with these standards and retain them for the duration of your apprenticeship. This is basically Alaska Primary Care Association's agreement to all apprentices. So I'm just going to take a moment and show you all where that's located. I've got our website pulled up here. So if you go to our Alaska Primary Care Association website, Workforce Apprenticeship, you can see we've detailed all the work process schedules. I'm just going to click Community Health Worker, for example. Click back, and then if you want to view the standards of apprenticeship, we can view those here. This is a quite lengthy document, so we're not going to go through all the components today in this training.
I don't think we're seeing your screen, Therese. I'm still seeing the PowerPoint.
Okay, let me see here. Thanks for that heads up. What about now, Mari?
Now I see a black screen. Is that what you see, Leanna? Okay. There.
Can you see the standards now?
I see a table of contents.
Yes. Okay, awesome. We're in the right place.
Okay.
So thank you for that heads up too. What we're talking about now is the standards of apprenticeship. So you can see that the table of contents basically details all the information you'll need to know about being part of the apprenticeship. Program administration, related instruction, credit for previous experience, how you can get that, the probationary period. So I would encourage all of you to log on to our website and go ahead and download and print this and keep it nearby so that whenever you have questions or just want to reference something, you can have the standards of apprenticeship. This basically lays down the law for us, for you, for your employer. So this is a very important document, and it's once again on our Alaska Primary Care website, alaskapca.org, apprenticeship. One other thing we're going to just jump into since I've got this open is we're going to look at the work process schedules. Each of these have been updated, and many of you have been wondering, like, what is it going to take for me to complete this apprenticeship? So I'll just click on CHW, for example. You can see that this is the work process schedule and related technical instruction. It talks about the term of the apprenticeship, how long it will take, related instruction outline, also details how many hours we're going to spend on the job learning in these areas. So you'll need to identify these specialized areas and know, am I already performing these duties? If I'm not performing these duties, how can I start incorporating that into my workday to get credit for on-the-job learning? So I would highly encourage, based on whichever apprenticeship you might have signed up for, to go to our website and view your standards of apprenticeship for your specific registered apprenticeship. And this is just to show you the certified medical admin assistant. You can see here all the items that you'll be expected to do in that apprenticeship and how many hours. So it looks like we've got a question. Oh, okay, maybe that got solved. Are there any questions at this time about the items we just went over, standards of apprenticeship or the specific work process schedules? Would it help if I mute everyone, do you think? Yeah, well, I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody, guys. So if you have questions, feel free to speak up. Okay.
It looks like Lillian and Esther might have had questions.
Lillian, did you have about the class time, Mari? Is that what you were thinking?
Will these slides be available to look at later on?
Oh, yes, definitely. This presentation is being recorded, and we will also share out the final slides and all related materials that you'll need to sign.
And Esther?
Oh, go ahead.
There's a question here, will there be any additional orientations for my coworkers that I don't see here?
Yes, there will be other orientation opportunities, and there will be a recording of today's presentation, which they can access, and feel free to contact me afterwards if they have additional questions. So Lillian, I will make the slides available. Following this webinar, everyone that attended will get a follow-up email with the slides. So I'm going to go ahead and try to transition back to the PowerPoint. Hopefully that's successful. Mari, are you seeing that PowerPoint again?
Yep, I see standards of apprenticeship.
Okay, awesome. So we went through the standards a little bit in the last screen. I'm not going to go through them too in depth because this could be a much longer presentation if I did. But feel free when you've got some downtime to print those off and build a little binder for yourself. I would include the standards of apprenticeship, the work process schedule for your particular apprenticeship that you're planning to attend, and then also your monthly worksheet. You can always fill these out by hand too. You don't have to do Excel if it freaks you out. Just fill them out by hand. We encourage you to do it at least once weekly and not like at the end of the month.
Two notes on that slide that you have up, Therese. Ratio of apprentices to journey workers. Registered apprenticeship is built on the apprentice being mentored on the job, and that is for two purposes. One is for safety, to make sure that a medical assistant, if you would, is not performing a process that must be overseen by the medical doctor. So if it was a medical assistant, generally it's a one-to-one apprentice to medical doctor at that time. However, in the areas that safety is not an issue, or there's not an issue where an individual could get in trouble as far as delivering services, then it can be two. So here in the health worker, you can see that two apprentices can be mentored by one supervisor. So that's one thing I'd like to point out in number 3. Number 4, the apprentice wage schedule. Do know that the apprentice wage schedule is when Sharice is going to keep track of you. You may already be at a competent worker or journey level wage, but every 3 months for this occupation, Sharice is going to be contacting you and contacting your employer to make sure that you're on task, so that just kind of keeping up, doing the housekeeping, making sure that everybody is at that level of achievement. Because apprenticeship is a linear process. So as you know a little, you get paid a little, and you do a little. As you know more, you have more responsibilities and you get paid more. And as we're working with a lot of incumbent workers, we have to adjust it just a little bit here. So.
Great, thanks for that, Jerry. So one mentor to one apprentice, unless you're CHW or medical
admin assistant, medical admin assistant. Medical admin assistants can be in the front office,
right,
2-to-1, but in the doctor's office 1-to-1.
Okay, got it. And if you have further questions, let us know.
Yep.
So as I said before, go ahead and access your work process schedules depending on your specialized apprenticeship program that you've signed up for. These are all on our alaskapca.org website under Workforce Apprenticeship. Familiarize yourself with that, because that leads directly to your sheet that you'll be filling in on a weekly basis about your on-the-job learning. So the work process and your standards is an outline of the skill areas that you will receive on-the-job training in, and we'll ask you to detail the approximate number of hours you spend in each of those areas. Don't be afraid when you see this and think, oh my gosh, I'm not even doing that right now. That's okay. That's part of becoming an apprentice. We're going to help you incorporate that work into your daily work if you're not already doing it, and helping you find opportunities to incorporate that. So just carefully follow the work process and keep up with it so that you're not overwhelmed with reporting all at once.
So let me just add one little piece here. This is a tool for both the employer and for the apprentice to keep track of those hours in a particular area. So let's take medical assistant. If an apprentice had 0 time in phlebotomy because they were nervous or scared of doing a blood draw, they can't complete their apprenticeship. Or if they've been doing nothing but phlebotomy because nobody else in the office wants to do it, that's not fair to the apprentice either. So know that those hours, they can be tweaked a little bit, but you can't have all your 1,000 or 2,000 or 4,000 hours in one area. You have to have that full range of experience. So that's the purpose of this part of the work process.
Right, and you can see on the screen here that for the community health worker, which is our example, you need between 2,000 to 2,200 hours to complete everything. Keep in mind, if you've already been in your position and you're an incumbent worker, you can shave about 1,000 hours off of that requirement through previous work experience. So as we're filling out our apprenticeship agreements, you might get a call or email back from Rosaline and I that says, how long have you worked at your job? That's very critical information to us because we want to be sure to give you credit for previous work you've done. So as you're filling out those agreements, if you haven't already, be sure to include your current wage and how long you've been on the job. Even if it was at another organization, if it's still in the realm of biller coder or medical assistant, if you were medical assistant somewhere else, we can give you credit for that. So just be sure to remember to give us that information.
It does nobody any good to send you back to zero and start at zero, because life experience as you've been down the road maybe halfway to this occupation. So do know to be fair to yourself, because if you're over generous, you're not going to, first of all, get paid for that, but more importantly is that you need to also make sure you got that foundational experience and knowledge. So yeah,
so for example, the CHW, if you have spent a year on your job already and you're going to spend another year working, you could possibly get through all the course materials, all of this work experience requirements in about 6 months to 1 year, and then you can test for your certification. So the way this is designed for incumbent workers is it's about a 6 month to 1 year commitment as far as timeline. I know many of you have been like, so how much time am I going to commit to this program? Well, depending on if you're starting from ground zero and you have no work experience, it could be 1 to 2 years. If you have experience, it could vary from 6 months to 1 year, depending on how often you show up to class, how you complete your assignments, and pre-testing and stuff like that.
and remember, if it is 2 years, that's 2 years of employment. It's not like going to the university for 2 years and then coming back. You're being paid all that time. So don't try to cut your apprenticeship too short. You want to get it done appropriately, but don't want to rush it, and you don't want to let it go too long.
Great. So we've been talking about RTI. We'll be delivering that distantly. You will attend all your classes through Litmus and go to training. And your employer can possibly, if you don't participate in the apprenticeship and complete it, they can consider, you know, what to do with you as a satisfactory progression thing. So we do expect that you guys make your best effort to show up to the live trainings that we will be delivering distantly. And if you can't attend the live trainings, please do log in and attend them on your own time after work hours.
And one, before you change it, the hours on the related technical instruction is the average for an individual. Someone that may be working in the occupation might take half to 3/4 of the time listed here because they've already got experience in this area. So if it says 8 hours and you get it done in 6 hours, woohoo, better for you.
Yeah.
But if it's 8 hours and it takes you 12 hours because of its new and technical information, so be it. That just is what it takes. So.
And know that when we're delivering our distance delivered training through Go to Training, when you're there and live in person for the live sessions, we will be giving you quizzes. We'll be doing assignments. You'll be interacting with your peers throughout Alaska. So it's really a network building opportunity outside of live instruction. You'll be making, you know, connections with other apprentices throughout Alaska, and it's a really great way to learn. We're also hoping to incorporate some student or apprentice-led discussions. Many of you are already very skilled in your workforce, and we would love to take items that you're very proficient at and highlight those and tell us how you do it and help the rest of the apprentices learn from you. So we're open to that. If you see an area on the related instruction outline that you're really great at and would like to participate in leading the discussion that day, we would love to have volunteers like that as well. So we'll talk about complaint procedures. If you ever have a complaint as an apprentice, as an employer, or a mentor, please reach out to me. My direct line is listed, as well as you can reach out to Rosaline. Our website is not correct there, but that's okay. You know how to reach out to me. So if you ever have any complaints about the program or about, you know, an apprentice or about anything, feel free to reach out to us. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and unmute the line. Our presentation has concluded. We've got about 6 minutes, so we're on schedule. And I just want to say good luck to everybody for signing up and taking this next step in your career, leading to further professional development. It's a huge milestone. It's not often that you can get something for nothing, and this is really one of those opportunities. So good luck to everybody, and we're going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. Okay, folks, I've taken you all off of mute. So questions, go ahead. And so I really think you put your own. Well, we must have covered all the bases, guys, if there's no questions, huh? Well, great. I guess we believe in the gift of time. We appreciate you all making the time to attend today. This was our first live go-to-training experience. Mari and I can have a secret celebration on. We will make this available to you along with the final slide decks and all the documents we cited in today's. So thank you all again, and we will join you next week for pre-apprenticeship. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Leave training. So if you just go on their site,